Oh, stopwatch.
Okay.
Perfect. Whenever you're ready. Okay, cool. So we got to quite a bit last session we were in. One thing I did want to touch on that I don't think we talked about last time was some of the symptoms that you might have noticed that we, if you want to grab that, yeah, some of the some maybe of the like physiological things you maybe have noticed that that have changed. Anything like if your eating habits have been changing at all lately, or any patterns in your sleep, or anything like that.
I mean, I feel like when I'm like sad and stuff like that, like especially sad, like I'm just not like eating as much, I'm not sleeping as well, and if it's like going kind of unresolved, it's just gonna like lasting longer, you know. I mean, just like every day, like day to day, like kind of stuff. I don't think I really see anything like that, but if I think of anything.
Okay, no worries. Perfect. Let's see. So, before we go back into talking about anything from before, I just want to see if there's anything that may have come up or anything that you'd like to talk about for this session.
Sorry, I'm trying to think to myself. I don't know. I just like it's been a pretty normal week, just like stressful at work and like it's been kind of weird going home and being with my boyfriend. Like I don't know. I just feel like my feelings, at least toward him, have been changing a little bit, but I don't know if that's just like stress from like having to come to therapy and like trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
Sure. Yeah. Let's see. So you said your feelings are sort of starting to change towards them. What does that look like?
I mean, it's not like I don't care about him or anything, or like it's like done a complete 180, but like I don't know. I just like it feels like a little bit less like warm toward him. A little bit like it's not like I don't care, but like less interested in whatever the hell is going on with him. Like I don't know, just almost kind of like I'm putting up a wall a bit more.
It almost sounds like a reflection of what he was doing to you a little bit.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so still dealing with these issues of him not being very supportive of you, and now you're kind of starting to feel this like maybe coldness towards him as well.
Yeah. Not completely uncaring or anything like that. Like if something happened to him, like of course I'd be like, oh my god, what's wrong? But like, yeah, just like a little bit
like
different.
In day-to-day reactions, it's interactions, it's sort of different now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. How's everything, communicating back home? I know we talked about how that support system for you does exist with your brother and your mother, but that it's kind of far away. How's that looking?
I mean, it's just kind of like normal. I mean, again, like I call my half brother at least once a week, at least. Um, so I think over the past like week I called him like 2 or 3 times. Three, yeah. And we just talked like we caught up and like with what was going on in our lives and everything, and like talked about going to therapy and I know he's been in therapy before, like for different reasons, obviously. So, but he just kind of was like, stick it out, you know, it'll help, you know, like just like words of encouragement, you know, like
That's great.
that you're doing like a good thing.
Yeah. So that's been nice, kind of having somebody who can not relate completely to your situation, but knows how
How
the
it-
process. Yeah. Okay.
I've enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. How has it kind of made you feel about this process? Is it changing anything you may have expected from therapy or?
I know. I mean, I came in here kind of to not really with like high expectations of like exactly what was gonna happen, but like kind of more. I don't know, just like if it can help, then it helps. Like a little bit more like less expecting a specific thing, but just like recognizing that I need help. You know, like I can't do this like completely alone. I needed to like go to somebody with like more experience.
Right.
Um, so I mean, it hasn't changed like my expectations or anything like that, but you know, it's just give me a little bit more hope, I guess. Like to like I don't know that it gets better almost, but yeah.
Okay. Um, how has it actually been in here for you? Like, have you noticed anything different after like having a session and going out or?
I mean, we were kind of just like talking, so like I mean, and sort of like second session, so not really like any massive changes. I mean, I guess I felt like a little bit like cathartic getting some of it out and like getting some of my frustrations out, but you know, it's
Sort of just working as any other support
mm,
system at this point. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Why don't we just talk a little bit more about his, or I mean, yeah, um, of how things have been with your partner lately in light of all of these issues you keep bringing up. I just wanted to talk a little bit more about of what that experience is like not really having the support network from him. If you could tell me a little bit more about that.
like long term or in like the past week.
Yeah, just
Either.
yeah. Just,
I mean, like we've I've tried to talk to him before, like a little bit, like about like how it is making me feel, but I don't feel as if he's like I don't know if he isn't hearing me or if he's just like he can't really give me what I mean like emotionally. Um and I'm not like I don't want to like completely like break it off if it's something like that like I don't know how to explain it. Not necessarily break it off, but like I don't really want to like take it out on him if it's something he just can't really do. I mean, that would kind of mean that I would need to leave, but like, and I fully recognize that, but like, I wouldn't want to be like angry. Like, I'd be a lot more frustrated if he just wasn't, you know, giving me what I needed as opposed to, you know, not being
couldn't
able
help
to.
it, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you're not really too sure if it's something like he's just not able to do it, or if he's just really not paying attention.
Yeah, because I definitely talked to him about it, and I think this past week we did kind of get into like a little bit of an argument, and I like I can't I felt kind of bad about it, like just because it wasn't something like huge. It was just kind of like I don't know. I think I slammed like my finger in like the car door and or something. Yeah. But he just kind of responded more with like, "Oh, you'll be fine." Like just kind of like whatever. Like as opposed to being like, "Are you okay?" Or like it was something small, but it was just like
just sort of brushed it off.
Yeah, I feel like it was kind of just like it showed a little bit more like what he's like in more serious situations. Like I think I mentioned at one point, like when my dog passed away, like he didn't really respond very well to it at all. Like it was just kind of like I think it was kind of like just piled up, and I just like snapped on him. It was just like fuck you. And I felt kind of bad just because it really wasn't that serious. Like I don't think that it should have really caused like an argument, but at the same time, it was kind of like I just like I felt angry and I lashed out.
So I almost get, I'm almost picking up a little sense of like this like resentment towards yourself for like making something bigger out of this kind
Yeah.
of smaller situation.
Yeah, I mean like I don't know. I kind of like I grew up in kind of like a more turbulent household with my dad who had like anger issues, so I've always tried to be like as level-headed as possible. Like not necessarily about things that like really matter. Like if I saw somebody else like hurting somebody else, I would of course like try to protect them, and if that required anger, like that would be necessary. But like just about like small stuff, like just not wanting to like. I just didn't want to be like him. I didn't want like something. I never wanted something tiny that ever caused me to like yell at somebody else or like throw shit or like punch a wall or something like that. You know.
Right, but the fact that it seems to be contributing to this like bigger issue is kind of where that's like mounting up to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you said that it was kind of giving you this sense of like that maybe it does lean more towards, oh, he isn't hearing me out, versus this is something that he can't do. Is that right?
Yeah, I think to some extent, yeah. I mean, I'm not like expecting him to be like some hyper sensitive, like, sap and like do a complete 180, but like, I don't know, I think to some extent I would have seen even like some sort of like, I mean, it's only been like a few weeks since I talked to him about it, but like some sort of effort toward it, I guess. Like, it's not as much like him not being successful as I guess as much as it's like I just want to see the effort. Like, because if I can see the effort, like that will just, I think at least to me, will make like a huge difference.
Right. Right, and that's just that effort is something that you just haven't really seen from him.
No, I haven't like. At least I haven't seen it. I mean, I haven't really talked to him about it directly. Like, and maybe there's something like maybe I do because like maybe there's something that I'm not really seeing or like I've been kind of like blinded by my like resentment and like I don't know, maybe something like I'm just like not really noticing but he's kind of contributing to. Maybe I'm just going crazy.
Sure. Yeah. So if we look back then at like all of your experiences with him, let's say maybe option A is true that he doesn't, um, that he is capable of having that emotional experience with you, but he's just actively like not listening to you. What do you think, in light of everything that's happened? What would that look like for you if that was true?
If sorry, you're asking if he was like actively trying versus if he wasn't.
Like if your assumption that like he actually isn't hearing you out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would look like, of course, it would just kind of be like continued behavior, I guess. Like if again something happened, like maybe I lost my job or something like that, and or I like had to drop out, like something more serious or something like that. That hopefully won't happen. And he just like was just like it'll be fine, like just kind of like reacting like that, like not really showing any empathetic emotion. like kind of just being like, oh, okay, that's shitty for you, okay, like that kind of stuff. Like continuing that, and then like I don't know, just like not being responsive to it if I bring it up at all. Like, of course, it can be kind of hard to like fully read him sometimes, but like I don't know. I just think it'd be a lot of like continued behavior and just like a lot of the same problems, you know. And then I guess like over time, probably causing me more frustration and you know more like feeling alone, I guess.
So I guess what I mean to get at with that is like, what would that mean for you though if that was the case? Yeah.
What would that mean? I guess long term it would mean I would eventually have to leave. Like, which you know I don't really want to do, but like if I have to, I have to because like I can't, you know, keep feeling this frustration and like keep dealing with this bullshit, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. You wouldn't feel wouldn't feel like you'd be getting what you want out of the relationship. And
Not at all.
just, right.
At least not a key aspect. I'm
Right.
getting other things, but like, because if I was getting nothing, I wouldn't be here.
Right. Yeah. So that frustration would really be building for you as he's just continuously not really being super responsive about anything. Yeah, I can understand that sense of you know not having that um, not having that connection with somebody that you've been with for so long, and you know never having it, and it's been almost like a year, right? Yeah, and that frustration just kind of looms over the whole thing.
Yeah, it affects everything else. So
Yeah, and then we see that when we get to a problem of something like you said, something that you thought was kind of smaller, like slamming your finger in a car door, and then all that frustration just kind of builds to this one moment where it's like, even I don't think this is a big situation, but it's just compounded with everything else.
yeah.
And then you said that was kind of like translating over into other parts of your life too.
I mean, not as much as like I meant everything and like the emotions within the relationship. Not as much like I'm not. I don't think at least I've been taking it out on anybody else. I hope not. I mean, I don't have like a hell of a lot of friends, so and I don't see them all that often. But like at work, it doesn't seem to be hindering my work, which I'm making coffee, but like, I'm not like while I'm there, I'm probably happier just because it's like a distraction. Like I just have to think about like, oh, I just gotta like make this, make that, and then like, you know, smile, be nice, talk, be polite.
Sure. It's kind of a cool down from all that. Let's see. So, yeah, you mentioned your friends not really like being there as a support network for you either, and you mentioned like you know you kind of being newer to this area, you just haven't really had friends here for that long, so that you know you don't really feel like you can go talk to them about this kind of stuff. I'm curious. I would assume you know have any of those friends like ever reached out to you about any problems they might be having or
I mean, to some extent, like of course we like if they're having their own relationship issues, they kind of come and talk to me about it, and you get wine drunk, you shit on them. That kind of nothing really, really helpful, I don't think, but like just kind of letting off steam. Um, and some stuff with like frustration at work, and dealing with like a shitty boss. Not feeling like they're like going anywhere in like their career by working at this like one place or whatever. Like they just don't feel like they're like progressing. It's like, well, I'm making like $12 an hour and I fucking hate it. So just kind of like stuff like that, like normal kind of stuff. Like I don't know, exactly, like just normal stuff that I feel like most people kind of go through at one point or another, where like it's pretty average, but nothing like really coming to each other with like really crying or like about having a hard time in life, or like I don't know, just like not really having like deeper issues with like anxiety or depression or like anything like that. It's kind of just more like a little bit more just like average stuff.
Sure. Yeah. So, and I wonder, do you feel like you couldn't really make that leap to go bring something like that up to them?
At least as of right now, no, not really. I mean, they might like. Of course, I don't think they'd be like, "Oh, go away," but like, I don't know. I think they would end up being more awkward than anything. Just kind of being like, oh, "I'm sorry, I don't know how to help you. But I'm sorry," and like that's like fine to a certain extent. Like if they just want to hear me like vent, but I don't know. I just don't feel like it would be as empathetic or as like either kind of. I think they would probably show more emotion than him, but uh, I just don't think they at least know how to deal with it or like be super sensitive to it or anything like that. If it makes any sense.
Right, but you feel like they would almost give you somewhat the same treatment as you're getting from your boyfriend.
Somewhat, maybe a little bit less like, oh, it'll get better, or like coldness, but like not a lot of like genuine warmth either. But I think that's just because they'd be put in kind of an awkward situation.
Sure. Yeah, so some of the hesitation there that I'm hearing is like, if I do go to talk to my friends about this, I'm not really going to be, I'm really not gonna get that full like emotional intimacy that I'm really like hoping to get from somebody who's gonna hear me out.
I kind of feel like some of them too, like, or I can at least think of like two of them that like how they deal with their problems is like, and how I've seen them deal with like our other friends' problems is just like going out and partying, getting drunk, and that's just not really how I deal with things personally. Like, who am I to judge? But just like going out and like getting intoxicated, and that's not really how I want to deal with my emotions personally. Like, it can be a nice distraction for a little while, but like then once you wake up with a hangover, the next day it's right back.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like you don't really want to get in this situation where they're just gonna they're not gonna take on the full
weight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the full weight of what you're bringing to them. It sounds to me almost like it could be embarrassing to not have that to bring something so emotionally impactful and then to not really have that pushback from them, to not really have that reciprocated connection with them.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like ultimately it would kind of put me in the same place. I guess, like, while I do appreciate, like, I would appreciate their intentions a bit more, like, I don't know, I just feel like it wouldn't help. Again, I'm, like, being kind of repetitive here, but I'm just like, that's just how I feel, And I mean, like, like I had more friends back home that I could go to with stuff like this, like, and I knew that I could, but like, it's just hard when you're kind of like all over the place, and then like you're working, you're trying to sustain shit here, and then like they're trying to do their own thing, like halfway across the country, and like they have their own shit to deal with, and they have their own jobs and like they're going to college as well, like their own educational experience and everything. It's kind of hard to like find time to like really connect, I guess.
Sounds like there's some concern that you might feel like a burden to them if you put that on them.
A little bit, but like I don't know how to explain it. I wouldn't feel necessarily like I'm always gonna feel like a little bit of a burden whenever I get invited, but like I mean, I don't know, just like I feel like it's harder more so when somebody like isn't there, like physically there. And I'm not saying they wouldn't care. I'm not saying it wouldn't be the same kind of experience, but like there's a difference between like sitting down and talking to somebody for like an hour versus like having a 10-minute phone call. It's just kind of like it's different. And it's like trying to like work out everything, and like it feels good when I get to go back, but like I don't get to go back that often. Like since moving, I think I've only come back like twice. So
Right, you feel like you kind of need that. There's a difference in that like direct connection with somebody as opposed to talking with someone over the phone.
yeah, and I mean I would love to find somebody out here like that, even like one person, but I just haven't really. I don't think I've come across either a person or a situation where I could.
I get the sense that I mean, do you feel like this like maybe if you did have one of those, if you had that person here to have that connection with, would this problem with like your boyfriend still feel like
It might not feel. I don't know. I might not be as frustrated with it, but like I don't think it maybe would have piled up as much because I would have some sort of support system. But like,
but that's still something you'd expect from a partner
yeah,
like that.
yeah, it wouldn't be like completely unproblematic at all.
Yeah, um, so yeah, I'm starting to understand that like it's more than just needing that support system in the area. There's something about like an emotional like reciprocation from your partner that's specific to having that person.
Hmm. Yeah, it's something I want. Yeah, I want some sort of emotional connection.
Right, but you still feel that connection, even if it's not reciprocated necessarily. You still feel that connection with this.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I can, and I mean, it's not like he doesn't have his moments. It's just usually his moments contain alcohol. Like he opens up a good bit more. Like he does almost do a complete 180 when he's drunk, but that's like he doesn't drink too much, but like when he is, like that's also kind of why I've been like concerned that it might not be like a can't as much as it like he isn't focusing too much on it, but again, like I also know like being inebriated makes a lot of things easier anyway. So.
Yeah, so yeah, that really adds to that concern of again option A, but like he's just not hearing me.
Yeah.
And that sounds to me at least like that's sort of like the bigger fear there is that it's that option.
Yeah. It's just he doesn't care as opposed to like.
He can't.
Yeah.
Right. And then plus even when you are sort of getting that attachment to him, it's only through like alcohol. And that feels kind of disingenuous in the sense or
I'm not gonna say it feels genuine, but I don't know, it bothers me that he only feels comfortable enough to like really discuss his own emotions or be really sensitive when he's intoxicated. Like he doesn't have that like courage almost like normally or that level of comfort.
Right. So it's like yeah, you're concerned about this this issue where he's not feeling comfortable around you to be able to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's like I don't know what I would need to do to get that to happen. Quite honestly, because I think I've been open with my own emotions and communicating and everything. So I'm just like I'm not sure really what he would need to be able to do that at this point. But of course, that's also like from my point of view. So
And you're feeling like that. Do you feel like that is on you to make that sort of change?
I mean, yeah, I do. I feel like that's on me. um, whether it is or not, I don't really know. But I always feel like that's on me to make other people comfortable and happy.
That sounds like a lot of pressure to me.
Yeah.
I think we got it.